Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Lexi and today we're doing another pick a card. Today's pick a card, we are taking a look at people's first impression of you. So how they view you and what they think of you when they first meet you. So I have 4 objects to choose from. Well, crystals and shells to choose from. Pile number 1, we have the Bumblebee Jasper. I say Jasper and my cat Jasper just looks straight up at me. Number 2, we have the shell. Number 3, we have the serpentine crystal. Pile 4, we have this cockle shell. So see which shell or crystal you are drawn to. The timestamps are going to be in the description box as usual. And I will see you guys at your timestamps. Hey pile 1, welcome to your reading. So we are taking a look at what people's first impressions are of you. So you guys chose the Bumblebee Jasper. I'm going to start with tarot and then we're going to move on to your oracle cards. So let's get in. So pile number 1, please spirit guides, tap me into the collective of my pile number 1s. What are people's first impressions of my pile number 1s? What are people's first impressions of my pile number 1s? I don't know whether I'm being shown there would have been like a time period where people would have had one view of you and now they look at you differently, and there's kind of like a, oh, I got you wrong, or I kind of feel guilty for getting you wrong. Or it could be that people initially have like a perception, or like, oh, that person isn't very talkative, or that person's this, or that person's thinks very highly of themselves, and it's like a projected view, and then they get to know you and it's like, oh, like, okay, there's a different, you know what I mean, like this person's a lot different to what I expected, because I'm thinking of like the Bumblebee Jasper and I'm thinking of like bumblebees, and actually bumblebees, they're not these like harsh creatures that go around stinging. They're actually really sweet, and they don't just go around stinging. If they sting, they leave their sting in you and then they pass away. Like they try not to do that, but that's what I'm getting. It's almost like a misconception, or like maybe I knew you before and I had an idea of you, but seeing you now, like maybe you've evolved or you've changed, or I'm just seeing you in a different way. So there's like a different kind of perspective than to be had. Pile number 1, please, the Bumblebee Jasper pile, please, spirit guides. What are people's first impressions of my pile 1s? Oh, I've got to cover that one up. We have the star, but I need to cover her up. But we have the star here. Pile number 1. What are people's first impressions of my pile 1s? I don't think people expect, do you know when people have a conversation with you, I don't think people expect to like you as much as they do. I feel like people go in expecting something completely different or having a projected view, and then the minute they actually speak to you or they come into your world, they actually really like you. And I feel like for people that may just be pessimistic or negative in nature, I feel like that can infuriate and frustrate them, whereas I feel like to most it's like, oh, you're a lot different. Like maybe that was my perception, maybe that was something that I created in my mind. Because I feel, sorry for the noise guys, my 3 cats are chasing each other around the house. It's Jasper, Luna and Veda. I'm dabbing them in, it's those 3. But yeah, I just feel like I'm pleasantly surprised. Like I'm really liking you. I want to say your warmth. I want to say that you guys are charismatic. I want to say that you guys are very tentful. Like I feel like you I feel like you're the type of person, like, say now you go and meet up with someone, you go and grab them a coffee, or you go and, like, you'll think of them, like, you're very, like, attentive, you know what I mean? Like, you look out for them. That's one thing that I'm picking up right away. Like, I kind of feel nurtured or cared for. I feel like you're really looking out for me. I'm so sorry for the noise. But that is what I'm getting straight up, you know? We have the Ace of Cups. Pile number 1. What is people's first impression of my pile number 1s? We have the Seven of Wands reversed. What is people's first impression of my pile number ones? Oh, we have two that came out together. We have the Five of Cups and the Sun, which came out, you know, at the same time. Okay, the Sun. I don't know if you've been through a lot in your life and maybe people have made perceptions over that, because I kind of feel like maybe I've heard things that you've gone through, or I've seen you at a time where you were very vulnerable, or I've seen you at a time where you were going through a lot, and maybe you weren't in, you know, when I saw you, you weren't like the most smiliest person ever, or you weren't the happiest person ever. So I've kind of made this decision of like, oh, that person, you know, they didn't speak to me and they just kind of like walked past me. Oh, they were ignorant. Like, I've just made it out in my head. All the while you were walking past, you were in your head. Maybe you were, you know, having anxiety, or you were just, there was a lot going on in your mind. And then they see you a while later and it's like they'll have a conversation with you, and maybe they'll hear a bit of your story. And it's like, oh, that person's really been up against a lot. Like, that person's really gone through a lot. And then I see you coming through. The only way I can describe it, there's a very light and airy feel to it. Like, you feel very unattached to wounds that maybe people still hold on to, maybe when they think of you. Like, maybe you're in like a really happy relationship, so people think of that, but then they see you and it's like that didn't even exist. Like, you've been able to grow and evolve from that, completely transmute out of it and come back to your own vibration. And it's like, it's almost like that didn't happen. It's almost like that is like a page in a book, but we're on a completely other book now. We've shut that book, we're on a completely different story. And like, you're able to just kind of, because I'm being shown somebody cutting their hair, like you're able to clear out and step into another frequency. Or even when you go through a lot of heaviness, you're able to step out of it. So maybe people see you when you've gone through like a phoenix mode, when you were like burnt to ashes, or when you were rising up in the flames, and it was like, oh, that's their version of you. But then once, you know, that phoenix kind of rises and it flies away, like they're seeing a different version of you, and it's like, oh wow, you've transmuted. So I feel like a lot of people do step towards you with maybe a preconceived idea of you, and I feel like they get very pleasantly surprised with what they get, because they expect you to be maybe act in a certain way or talk in a certain way, and you don't. So people are like, oh, okay. And then people really like you, because I feel like you're very warm and you're very inviting. Like, the only way I can describe how I feel, like the way I'm being made to feel, is like your arms are coming around me, and I feel safe with you, and I feel like you're genuine. You know those people, and you meet them and you just know they're genuine people? That's how you come across when people actually take the time to like speak to you and are around you or in your presence. Like, you really do have that vibration. I also want to say you seem like somebody that's always trying to do better, and I don't know if you're very focused on your business or work. I don't know if you're very maybe focused in the gym. There's kind of this Aries like okay, on to the next. Like, I'm gonna do this next, I'm gonna do this next, you know, I'm gonna reach the next mountain. Like, I'm constantly evolving, I'm constantly growing, I'm constantly looking to do better. So it's almost like you're always climbing up a ladder. And I do feel that's people's first impression of you. Like, you're very, especially hearing you speak, like I'm listening to you speak, and I feel like you're very ambitious. I feel like you're very how do I put this into words? Like, there's a Saturnian like feel to you, where you're very, there's something you're very, very focused on that people see straight away. So that's, again, work, your own career, maybe like healing and growing and evolving still, or again, like, you know, the physical movement, like maybe in the gym and things like that. Like, there's something that I see you having a really strong focus on that is like your number one. And I feel like people see that straight away. So that you're very ambitious is what I'm trying to say. And I don't feel you let circumstances around you keep you down. And I feel like that's very impressive to people. Because it's almost this vibe of like, if I went through that, I'd be feeling this way. So I'm guessing that person's going through this. And then they see you and it's like, they wouldn't have even think you've gone through it. So I feel kind of impressed. And I'm like, oh, wow. You know what I mean? Because people naturally will have that projection. And I feel like you kind of blow that out of the park, if that makes sense. That's what I'm being shown. The back of the deck was the Three of Wands as well. I was just holding on to that for dear life for some reason, but we have that at the back of the deck, the Three of Wands. Ace of Cups, Seven of Wands reversed, Five of Cups. I feel like people might have seen you at a time where maybe you've had to stand up for yourself, or maybe, you know, at a certain time period, or maybe when you were younger, you had to be very defensive, or you had to keep your wits about you, and you had to be very like analytical. You had to be careful who you were letting in, because there is this kind of vibe like that I've made up in my mind beforehand of like, oh, that person may try and argue with me, or that person might, you know, is very cold. And then it's like that flip when I come into your world, and it's like, oh, that person's really warm, that person's really sweet. Why did I think they were like this? Or why did I think they were like that? They're actually really, really sweet, or really, really kind. Because I keep wanting to say sweet, kind, generous. Like, that's the vibe. So I feel like people have that impression when they're around you. But I keep being taken with your pile to people having an, before people's first impression of you, people having a preconceived impression of you. And I don't know what that's about. But that's what maybe you have a large social media presence, maybe you have gone something really heavy, and maybe it's, I'm thinking of like people from, you know, school or college or your hometown, and people like that, and them having a preconceived idea. But I feel like you naturally challenge anything that people have projected onto you anyway, because I keep feeling really pleasantly surprised. And I feel like, you know that song, I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never going to keep me down. Like, that's what I'm hearing. And I feel like people see you like that. Like, oh my God, that person just keeps jumping up. And that person just keeps, like, I wouldn't have expected this. Or I wouldn't expect them to be like this now. Like, how have they got out of that? So it's kind of like, oh, wow. Oh, okay. There's a lot of that, and feeling impressed. And I feel like, because I'm hearing lemonade, like turn lemons into lemonade, I feel like maybe things that you've been served, you've allowed them to help you grow, or you've turned it into something to really help others, or just help yourself kind of expand in your life. So I'm looking at that, and I'm like, if I was handed lemons, I'd feel like this. But they've just got all those lemons, and they have a lemonade stand, and they're making a lot of money, and they're pretty abundant. Like, who would have thought? You know what I mean? So it's kind of like that. That's a vibe that I'm getting. You definitely come across as a bit of a phoenix, but I feel like whoever it is I'm tapping into, the collective, I don't think they'd go, oh, phoenix. It's more like, I'm thinking this of you, but now that I mean you, you're actually like this, and I know you've been through a lot, but you keep jumping back up. It's like nothing keeps you down. You're pretty resilient, and I'm like, I have a lot of respect then, you know. But people that haven't come into your world, it's almost like I have an idea of you that isn't true. And I feel like it varies on who the person is and how they see the world, you know. But you come across really, really kind-natured and very, very sweet. And I feel like you're very, I want to say you're very attractive, but I feel like you've just got this warmth that draws people in regards to people's first impressions. Because especially people that wouldn't know you, I feel like if you were to be, like, just somewhere where there's, like, a crowded room, or somewhere where, you know, you go to, like, an event and there's people that you haven't met, I feel very drawn to you. You know when people say, oh, I don't know what it is about that person, I just feel drawn to them. You kind of give me those vibes, and it wouldn't shock me if people have said that about you before, because I feel like you do draw people in. I just feel like you've got this warmth to you. I'm hearing you guys have really nice smiles, and your eyes are very light. I hope that makes sense. Like, you may have very big eyes, but your eyes just feel like light. Like, I always say the eyes are the window to the soul. So I just feel like whether people can feel energy and vibrations like that, or read people like that, I feel like there's something about your eyes that draws people in as well, whether they're aware that's what they're being drawn to or not. Or people may just give you compliments on your eyes, but that's something coming through as well. And some of you guys may wear clothes and outfits that stand out, but then again, it could just be your energy and aura that does that. It could just be you always make sure you dress a certain way, you have like a certain aesthetic, or you make sure everything's put together. It could just be something that you wear, you stand out. You may wear very bright colors. That's another thing coming through. But then again, sometimes it's just people's like aura and energy, and people are drawn to that. So it could be that as well. But I feel like you're very generous and very giving. And I also feel like people that are in your circle talk really highly of you, and ride for you. And I feel like people are aware of that too. So whoever it is in your circle, there's almost this feeling of like, I don't know why, I'm looking at you and I'm seeing somebody around you that's close to you. It could be a sibling, or it could be like a friend. And whoever it is talks highly of you, or talks of you a lot, or talks of you in a good light, and has spoke about you in front of people. So I feel like that's another thing where people actually look at you in a different way. There's like, because I don't know, you may say funny things and they get passed on by someone close to you, so then people think of you like, oh, that person's really funny, or somebody could have like videoed you a lot, or posted things that you've said online, and people are like, oh, I never thought they would have said something like that, that's really funny. So there's actually someone around you that has, even if there is people with preconceived ideas, I feel like there's someone around you that says and posts things about you, or just talks about you to other people, where people are like, oh, I never thought they would have been, you know, kind of lighthearted like that, or funny like that, like, and it has them like, oh, I feel like I need to get to know that person, or that's kind of challenged the way that I was, you know, perceiving them, or I wouldn't have expected that. So I don't know who that friend or sibling is, but there's something about that coming through as well. But I want to say you guys are very attractive, and I feel like that is something that people are drawn to, that you've got a light about you and an aura about you. But I keep being taken in this reading to people that may already have a preconceived idea of you because they've known you from a particular phase in your life, or know you as going through something. And I feel like you are, the minute you meet people, you don't even have to say anything, you just erase what they've thought just by being you, which is lovely. And I don't know why people would have preconceived ideas, but you definitely aren't what people are projecting, you know, onto you. I feel like you've heard as well, maybe through the grapevine, things that people might have said or projected, you know, like the bees, and it's like, oh, they say we sting and they run away from us, but I just want to be friends. Like, is that sort of thing. Like I'm picking up that from like bees. Like if you actually watch them, they're actually really harmless and sweet, you know. And a lot of the times they dive bombing on you, they probably think you're a flower. You know what I mean? So it's like, sometimes it's quite innocent, and I feel like people may have been like, oh, that person, you know, went through that, so they're probably going to be healing for a really long time now. Or that person, you know, they got knocked down. Oh well, like it's kind of like that. They don't expect you to like jump and bounce back up, and you do every time. That's why that song, I get knocked down but I get up again, keeps playing for me. Pile number 1, people's first impression. I could be but when I'm talking to people with a preconceived idea, it could be a certain group of people that for some reason are coming up. Pile number 1, we have Pluto. Yeah, it's like that Phoenix energy, Pluto. Like, I feel like you guys have transformed out of many phases, and I feel like the minute as well that, and we've got Mars here as well, I feel like the minute as well that somebody tries to put you in a box, I feel like you do jump out of that box. Pile number 1. And we have Neptune. Yeah, it's giving me, I don't know if you have like Neptune on your Ascendant or Neptune in like the 7th house. The back of the deck we have the Sun, of course, because I feel like that's naturally you. I feel like you are very bright and a very warm person. I feel like the way you speak as well, there's like a nurturing tone to the way you speak, or you big people up and look out for people in that way. But what I was saying with the like the Neptunian thing, like when I think of Neptune and I think of Neptune on the Ascendant as well, I always think of Marilyn Monroe. You've probably heard me say it before, but with Marilyn Monroe, like, she was a whole person with feelings, and she was actually very intelligent. And if you've read her chart, you'll see that. Like, she was a very interesting, introspective person. But people have just, she's got Neptune on the Ascendant, so people don't see that. And they're like, oh, Marilyn Monroe, which her name was Norma Jean. But people have projected this vision of her on what they want her to be. And they did that all the way back then. People still do it now, of what they want her to be. And that's who she is. When actually that was probably just a fragment. And, you know, she was more than that. But people have just created like that as the version of her. And then you hear people that actually knew her and they have an entirely different story to tell. So I feel like people, for you guys, may have projected a lot onto you, you know, because Neptune can form those clouds over, you know, our vision and have us not see things in the way that they're supposed to. And a lot of the times, if we don't understand something, human beings like to project what they know, you know, and we're all looking at life through our own filters. So depending on who the person is and how they see life, they could project anything, you know. And I feel like you've fallen victim to that. I feel like people have done that, you know what I mean? And I feel like you're aware of this, but I feel like again, I feel like you've transmuted out of so much and you've grown and evolved through so much, and I feel like anything that has been thrown of you, you have turned it into lemonade. And I think that as well with the Mars energy, I feel like maybe people have seen you when you had your head down and you were like getting yourself out of something, or you were building something, or you were maybe at times you felt like you had something to prove, so you were pushing and, you know, trying to get something off the ground. It could have been a project, it could have been anything. Maybe people have seen you in certain time periods where you had to be cold, or you had to get your head down, and people have made these ideas. But I feel like the people that see you with before that preconceived idea, or people that then come into your world, I feel like they see you as a very warm person. They see you as somebody that's always climbing a ladder, always, you know, jumping out of something and onto the next. Somebody that's always like somebody that's very ambitious, somebody that's got their head screwed on, I'm hearing. And by that I mean like you're on top of things, and somebody that's kind of transformed through the flames, and grown and evolved. I want to say stable, like there's like a stability, like this stable energy, and I don't know why that's coming through, but I feel like you're somebody that I could depend on. So that's another thing. Yeah, so Power 1, that is what I have for you guys. I really hope that you enjoyed your reading, and I hope it resonated. Hit the thumbs up and comment down below if it did. I'm sending you guys all of my love. I hope you have a beautiful morning, afternoon, evening, whenever you're watching, and hopefully I'll see you guys in my next video. So thank you guys for watching. Hey Pal 2, welcome to your reading. So we are taking a look at what are people's first impressions of you. So you guys chose the shell. I'm going to start with tarot, and then we're going to move on to your oracle cards. So let's get in. So pile number 2, please spirit guides. Pile number 2, please spirit guides. Tap me into the collective of my pile number 2s. I feel like when I tap into your collective, just from my perspective, not other people's, you have a very, very strong and open heart chakra. Some of you guys actually may be purging and clearing in regards to your heart chakra right now, but I keep being shown it's happening like at the same time. So whatever it is that you're feeling deeply with right now, if you're purging and clearing something deeply right now, I'm seeing it go around in a circle. You know when you see like a riptide, and I feel like when it reaches the midpoint, it's being transmuted and cleared so it can come back to you tenfold. So if you are purging or feeling really sad right now, know it's going to be reversed and coming back to you. And you're going to be feeling a lot lighter. For those of you that don't resonate with that message, I just feel like this pile has a very, very big open heart chakra. I feel like you work through your heart chakra, and I feel like your heart chakra leads this lifetime for you. You know what I mean? No matter what type of relationships you have, friendships you have, career paths you have, I feel like your heart space, it always leads that. So always trust your heart space and, you know, the feelings that you get, because I feel like you're bang on. I would say that you're clairsentient, to be honest. I could feel that quite strongly. So pile number 2, please spirit guides. What are people's first impressions of my pile number 2s? What are people's first impressions of my pile number 2s? I was literally being shown that shell like moving along the beach with like a little like sea snail sort of thing, and then I'm looking at it and I think, oh my god, that's so beautiful, I would love to have that little sea snail. And then I go over to grab it, but as I come up closer, like the snail isn't actually in the shell and I can't see anything, but it is, but it just kind of magically disappeared, because it's like, who said you could get in my energy? Who said that, you know, you can tap into me like that? Like, you've got to try and gain my trust. Like, why are you trying to grab at me? And I'm almost looking at this snail like, oh, like magic, like you've just hidden from me. I don't get it, because the minute I'm stepping away I can see that snail again. I don't understand. And I think the reason that's coming through is I feel like in regards to people's first impressions of you, I feel like your own sensitivity, it's felt like a curse, but it really is a gift. And I feel like sometimes you guys have trouble opening up to certain people, like when you're around them and you don't understand why. And the reason is, I feel like you're very in tune with your inner world and your higher self, and I feel like your higher self knows, this is the person I feel like I'm ready to open up to, this is the person that I feel like I need to be wary of, this person needs to prove that they need to be in my life beforehand. So it's almost like I'm gonna hide back in the shell until I feel comfortable, because I feel like you're one of those people that you'll bloom in front of people when you feel comfortable with them. If not, they're not going to have access to those parts of you. And I feel like you felt confused about that at times, like, why do I not feel like I can open up with this person? But I feel like you're so in tune with your higher self. I feel like sometimes your intuition understands something before your brain catches up. And I feel like because of that, I feel like people, there's kind of like a, I want to know more, but I can't get in. Or I want to get into that shell, or I want to have that like kind of like snail because it looks this way, but every time I'm coming towards it, it's hiding. So it's like I'm getting frustrated. So there's kind of like an enigma here straight away, because I feel like you're very careful with who comes into your world. You may be very selective with the people in your life. You could have only like a certain number of friends. You know, you're very, very careful. I feel like you have a small circle. And I feel like sometimes people get frustrated because people are definitely drawn to you. I feel like, imagine it's a really hot day and there's like a really cool river and it's going all the way down, and I just want to jump in and feel that coolness. Like, that would be so nice. I don't know why that's the vibe that I'm given energetically of how you feel to people. So it's like I just want to flow and let that take me. So I'm kind of being drawn in like that. But I feel like sometimes people, there's always going to be somebody that's going to look at that river and be like, let's take the water and sell it on. Let's do something to it. Like, let's do that. And I feel like you're almost like protected then in a way. Your boundaries definitely like protect you. Or your intuition protects you. But then it creates that enigma. Like, I'm sure that river was there, now it's gone. I don't understand. Because I'm seeing, you know, like when you're in the desert and you get that mirage and you run towards it because you think it's a lake, but it's not. I'm sure it's called a mirage. Sometimes people feel like that with you. It's like, where did it go? Because, yeah, there's something very mystical and like, oh, magic. Like, that's kind of what I'm... You know, like the chameleons. I'm sure that's how you say it, chameleon. Or they call chamalons. I'm sure it's chameleon. Let me know. But yeah, you kind of give that vibe. See, I'm kind of guessing myself. I'm like, wait, what? Huh? Like, I feel like you're very wise. That's me saying that. Like, you're very wise in regards to like what you're going to show to people, what you're going to let out of the shell. Pile 2. What are people's first impression? Like, it's given optical illusion because the right people will see it, and they're the people that are going to come in. It's given labyrinth, you know. It's like Sarah trying to get through the labyrinth and there's all those twists and turns. Like, it's given that, you know. It's definitely given the labyrinth. Pile number 2. What is people's first impressions of my pile number 2? We had the 8 of Pentacles and the Hanged one that dropped. We just get 2 more. We have the High Priestess. I'm not shocked the High Priestess has come out. You may be very open with your connection to spirit, or people just feel like you guys have a lot of wisdom, or there's something you're tapped into, even if they don't quite understand what that is. And we have the Knight of Cups here as well. I do feel that you draw in a lot of like romantic partners, or like people that are interested in romantically pursuing you. But sometimes that may not be for the best if they are that healing energy that you have. You know, they could be like broken birds and they're just trying to heal from the situation, or they're wanting you to fix up the situation, or it could be people coming towards you in a lusty way, or having like an idea of how they want something to go, because I feel like you've had your fair share of people not coming with the best intentions, and I feel like that's something that you've had to learn, but again I do feel like your boundaries and your intuition has protected you a lot from those situations. We have the 3 of Wands at the back of the deck. Pile number 2, please, spirit guides. Pile number 2. It's like I've got to give a passcode before I come in here. I've got to show something before I come in here, but I don't even know what that is. I'm expecting to come in here with a free pass, or I'm almost feeling entitled to this energy, and then it's kind of like more full me in a way. And I don't feel that, you know, every single person that stepped towards you has had bad intentions. You know, I definitely see people that have just really been drawn to you and your light, and maybe not thought of the repercussions of like, what if I end up hurting this person because like I'm wounded and I like to be around them. I feel like some people have just been a little bit careless, but again I feel like you've hidden in that shell. And I feel like the right people, like your soul tribe, the people, this is the thing, the people that have actually made it in are people that aren't really coming up in the reading as first impressions, because they're already around you. And I feel like that passcode that I'm talking about, or that key that I'm talking about, it's more so a frequency of just kind of getting your, I'm being shown a wave, like a frequency, like an electric kind of wave, and it's like they're just on that vibration, they're just on that wave, and they see you the way you see them. So it's like, okay, now I'm let inside the shell, you know what I mean? Like that's what I'm picking up here. And I feel like you're aware of it energetically the minute someone steps towards you. This is a good person, this is the right person, this is somebody that I can trust, this person sees life like I do, or this person adds value, and they're genuine and they're taking their time, and it's not like they want necessarily anything from me. So it's like, okay, I'm gonna let them in. And I feel like it's not even like a decision in your brain, like, oh, I'm gonna let them in. You just energetically bloom in front of them, you bloom around them, you're open around them. So I would really pay attention to who you feel you're able to be open around, and who you want to attract into your shell around, because I feel like listening to your feelings there, I feel like that's really going to help you with who's meant to be in your life. Even if you've had people that have been in your life for a while, but now all of a sudden you're feeling the need to attract, I would say to listen to that as well, because I feel like that the right people are always going to be able to like ride that frequency with you. But first impressions, 8 of Pentacles, the Hanged One. I keep seeing like a star in the sky that I can't reach, that really beautiful shell that I really want on the beach that I'm like running towards. Like, I feel like people, I think that you guys are really attractive, and I feel like you guys have like a light about you that people, you do something that's, you could be a bit of like a wild child or like a wild card, where, because I'm hearing Miley Cyrus's song Wild Card, where you kind of just do what you want, very independent. And people may come in and think, oh, I want to control that person, or I want to latch on to that person. And it's almost like this twinkling star that I'm drawn to. That's why I'm thinking of like beauty and the attractiveness. Like it's more of like an intense, like sharp feeling that I'm getting, or like an opportunistic vibe, because you could do things that people look up to. Like you could have a job that people look up to. You could have like, it could be as simple as like you have a really nice car, or a really nice home, or you're doing really well for yourself, or you just carry yourself in a certain way, or you could be a super confident person and people see you being confident. So it's like, oh, I need that in my life, I'm gonna latch on. But then when they try to latch on, you're no longer showing that confidence, you're hiding it, and you're just kind of black and white with them, and they're like, wait, what? But then the minute they let you go and you go off, you're confident again, and they're like, wait, what? Like, I don't understand. That's why I keep being taken to. I feel like you get a lot of people just try and stick on you. And I'm also being shown friends like love bombing too, or like people that want to be in your world or want to be friends with you, or like admire you. I see them stepping towards you and like love bombing straight away, like giving like loads and loads and loads of attention and things like that. You could even get people that maybe try and mimic little things that you do, because I do feel people are really, really drawn to you. Do you notice how in this reading I'm saying every 2 seconds? Apologies for that, but I keep going because it's like I know I'm drawn to you and there's something I'm liking, but I can't get in, and I'm getting frustrated. This is other people's, you know, energy. Like with the Hanged One, it's like I'm waiting for information. I feel like when people first meet you, they try to like stalk your social media or look on your social media. And I also do feel, because you're very careful where you put your energy, I feel like people sometimes may take it to heart. Because it's almost like I'm putting my worth in it. Like, I'm love bombing you because I like something about you and I want to be in your life, but you're not giving me that same energy I saw you give that other person. But that other person you've known for 9 years and whatever. But I don't understand that in my brain, so I'm taking it as rejection. So now I'm frustrated, and it's like, oh, like maybe then I'm being projected on, and it's like, oh, you're not giving me that energy for free. You're not giving me that friendship for nothing. You're not giving me that relationship for free. And it's like, I'm kind of getting frustrated. And then I'm coming through, like, I feel frustrated for you, because it's like, well, why do you feel entitled to them? But it's almost like I'm seeing that energy and I like it so much that I'm seeing other people get it for free, but they're not actually getting it for free. It's just a vibration. But then I feel kind of entitled to it. And I feel like you've dealt with that. And I'm sorry if you've dealt with that, because I feel like people have done that with you, but I feel like other people, they could take it as rejection. And then I see people like on your social media or watching you with other people and going, but they're like this though, but they weren't like that with me. What did I do? Did I say something? Was it me? And then it's almost like it's tapping into my insecurities, but that's my issue. But it's like, oh, okay. And now I'm trying to find another way to get into the shell. Now I'm trying to find another way to get you to come out of the shell. Because I keep feeling like, was I not good enough? But it's like, you didn't even offer anything. You were just trying to pull a snail out of the shell. You deal with that. And the only way I can describe that energy is a bit icky. And I feel like you've dealt with that. And I'm so sorry that if you have dealt with that, because it's like when kids with like a lower emotional intelligence, they want a game and they can't have it and they throw a tantrum. Like they feel entitled to it. Like, I should have this. That's the vibe that I feel like you've dealt with. Whereas I feel like the right people, they meet you and I feel like they understand that, you know, shell analogy, and I feel like they take their time to get to know you. They take their time to understand you, and I feel like naturally you bloom. So those people see a completely different aspect of you. And I feel those people that see you straight away and that you bloom in front of straight away, I feel like they see you as very connected to spirit, very intuitive. I don't know why I want to say Sagittarius. Like, I feel like you guys know a lot. Like, there's this, it's almost like access to a higher power, access to higher knowledge. Like, you're full of wisdom. And I feel like, I want to say method to the madness. Like, I feel like there's little things that you do that's like, I'm thinking of the labyrinth again. Like, what other people may be like, why do they do this or why do they do that? But it's almost like, from the people that get you, it's almost like little things you do. It's like, oh, you do that for this, you do that for that. Like, I'm thinking of the labyrinth, the one Sarah tries to get through this door and she's like struggling to get through the door, and then she has to ask questions and she's like, what is this place? Whereas like, I see, you know, people that get you straight away. It's like, oh, you're doing this for this and you're doing that for that, and that's for protection, and you act this way when you feel like this, and like, people just get it, you know what I mean? And they're just there for the ride. And I feel like people see your heart space then, you know what I mean? And I feel like that's the kind of treasure that's hidden behind the shell that other people are trying to like yak at, you know what I mean? And it's like, oh, that person's like a chameleon, like they're here, they're there, like I can't get into them, I don't understand. And then you have the people that are like, oh, so they're open with that person, not me, what did I do? And it's like in the insecurity, so I'm projecting. Whereas I feel like the right people, they're like taking the time and they're like, oh, that's what was behind the shell. Oh, okay, yeah, no, like, I'm gonna pour into you, you pour into me, and we'll keep this connection going. And I feel very loved by you, and I see you in a very pure way. Whereas I feel like the people that don't get in the shell, I'm not saying they don't see you in a pure way, but it's like this intense, lustful, oh my god, I want to be like you. Do I want to be with you, or do I want to be like you? What's the saying? Do I want to be with you, or do I want to be you? Like, there's an intense, and I don't like that. And I feel like you're right to then have that protection on you. Whereas the right people, is like, they're seeing you as pure. That's their impression of you when they first get in. It's like, oh, you're a very pure person. You know what I mean? A very pure person. And I keep being shown like an anchor right down at the bottom of the ocean, and then like a boat up top, like a really big boat, and it's like the waves are kind of crashing, but that boat's like kind of like stabilizing. So I kind of want to say that you're resilient, and that no matter the emotions or the energies that like come through, you're able to like adapt. So I feel like you're somebody that can, people that first come into the shell, they see you as somebody that can move mountains emotionally and then return to your frequency, but it's emotionally. Yeah, like I feel like you take on a lot emotionally, so you may cry a lot just to release. You may like cry all the time, like I'm happy, I'm crying, I'm angry, I'm crying, I'm frustrated, I'm crying, I'm laughing, I'm crying. You may cry a lot because I feel like you feel the intensity of emotions very strongly, and they pass through you. So there's something about that people recognize off of first impression when they get into your shell. And I feel like you're kind of like an ever unfolding rose then. I feel like there's many layers to you once I see you like that, because you're blossoming. So I'm seeing so many new petals. Whereas I feel like there's these flowers that I have in the summer, and when the sun goes down, they go back into a bud, and then when the sun comes out, they open. So I feel like when an energy that's, I want to say, icky comes through, and you know, like, this person's going to try and take from me, this person's going to try and do that, you snap into a bud. You literally go boom into a bud, and then you bloom for the right people. So you feel like an ever unfolding rose there. You may be a water sign, so Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, because this has come through before. Like, crabs are so sweet and cute, but like, people forget that, like, crabs, they have claws, and if you're not going to respect them, of course they're going to pinch you. Like, you're going into their home, you're poking them, you're seeing, you know, you're laughing, you're like, haha, they're going to get their claws and they're going to pinch you. Naturally, they're going to do that. So I feel like people, when maybe they haven't got what they wanted out of the shell, they've tried to poke it, and then you've kind of like popped out and pinched, you know what I mean, or told people off. So like, whoa, where did that come from? Like, oh my God, like, mean, you know, you're a meanie. Like, people have kind of projected that sometimes, but it's like, why were you poking the shell? Why were you doing that? Or why were you disrespecting like that? Because I see like a claw come out, like, don't try me, you know, like, don't. Because there's a lot, I feel like I'm struggling to get like a certain perception, because I feel like in regards to people that do rush towards you, or I feel this love bomby energy, but I don't really have a particular, oh, they feel like this or they feel like this, other than it's that intense, you know, when you have a trauma bond with someone and there's like an intense feeling, or someone triggers you and there's that intense feeling. So it's like either intense lust, or again, it's like, I don't know whether I want to be you or be with you. So I'm like, it's almost like I'm trying to feed off that energy, and then you go into the shell. Like, you're not going to do that to me, you know, you're not going to do that to me. So I definitely do see that. But it's hard for me to pinpoint that energy, because I feel like it would be different to, you know, it could be partners that were like broken birds. It could be, you know, trauma bonds with other people that people have tried to pull at your energy there. You could be in like a sort of service and people try and pull at your energy there. Or it could be just, you know, people trying to be friends with you because they like your confidence, they like your charisma, they like the way you dress, they, you know, you give off something that I think people see as valuable no matter what. And I think you naturally hide that away when people may just be trying to take that. Whereas the people that disrespect you as you are, they just see you as that kind of like ever unfolding rose, that's very pure. Pile number 2. You may have dealt with people love bombing you. Pile number 2. So we have Libra. May as well cover her up now. Or him up. We have Libra. Yeah, I do feel like you guys are very visually pleasing. You know what I mean? It could be your physical looks, it could be your body, it could be your aura and energy. Like, and I'm thinking of like life's pleasures as well. So you could have like money. Yeah, you could have like money, or you just look a certain way, and there's something either profitable or like, oh, this is abundant that I'm drawn to here in regards to you. Pile number, we have Scorpio. One more card, please, Spirit guides. What have we got? Saturn. And the back of the deck, we have Taurus at the back of the deck. Okay, let me get that. Yes, we have Taurus and Libra. You could have a lot of Libra and Taurus in your chart. You could be Venusian, but a lot of people imagine themselves next to you, in a relationship with you. You're my best friend. We could go into business together. Like, it's that way, because I'm thinking of the 7th house there as well. And I feel like you've had people as well that have expected or felt entitled to you, and you've pulled back, and then it's created like enemies, because I'm thinking of, you know, the 7th house and enemies as well. So that could have happened a lot. Like, I feel like you've really dealt with that, and I feel like that's why maybe you're quite cautious. But this treasure that people are being drawn to, in this abundance, yes, you could be super good looking, yes, you could have a lot of money, yes, you could have all of these things, but I feel like this treasure, it's your heart space. And I feel like there's so much that people don't see about you, And I feel like you deserve people that understand your depths and see those layers. And I feel like when you bloom in front of people, you bloom in front of the people that allow those layers to open and really see you like that. And those are the people that come in. Because I feel like people do, similar to pile number 1, I feel like people project, but I do feel as well, sometimes people may project that maybe you've had an easy life, or maybe people project that like, oh, you're a bit of a player and you get like the pick of the bunch. And I feel like whenever people are projecting, I feel like you've maybe had it hard there. You know what I mean? Or you've had to learn really deep lessons there. Like people could think, oh, that person's talking to everyone and they're in and out of relationships, when in actuality, maybe you've only had one relationship and it was karmic and you had to learn a lot. But they don't see that. And it's like they're projecting this idea like onto you that, you know what I mean? Or this person knows they're super attractive, but maybe you struggle with seeing yourself as attractive, but people kind of expect that because there's something that people are like, ooh, and it's like, you've had to work really hard to obtain it, or you've had to really go through the ringer, you've had to learn really hard lessons in regards to that. And I do feel as well that's in regards to like connections with other people as well, but just holding and preserving your own light. You know, there could have been a time where you just shone your light out and everybody came and you just trusted that everybody had the same intentions, and you got hurt and then you created that shell. So it's like, now my light's back, but there's a shell here because I'm taking care of it. And I feel like that's something maybe you've had to mold as well, to preserve your energy. Because people then could look at it like, that person was really open to me before and now they're not, I don't understand. And that's where the frustration's coming from. But it's because you feel the need to like protect where you're being pulled at. Maybe you hadn't, you know, you were open, but then people were taking your generosity, like they felt entitled to it, so you pulled back. So that could be that as well. I do want to say, when people first meet you, they like the sound of your voice. Maybe you have like a certain accent that people like, or the way that you talk, like words you say, you know, your vocabulary, like, or the way that you talk, it could be very healing. You could have your Mercury in a water sign. But yeah, there's like a healing. I'm hearing Mercury in the 4th house. Yeah, so it's like, yeah, that's what I'm picking up. I'm also hearing Venus in the 3rd house too. That's another one. But yeah, I just feel like people like to listen to you talk. I see somebody watching you, just to end the reading, like I see somebody watching you and you're being really funny and charismatic with someone and they're really liking you and they're like, oh my god, like that person's so funny, and then they go up and they try and join in and then you completely shut down and you just kind of like look at them and they're like, oh, tough crowd, like I don't think that person likes me, but it's like, I don't know you, so I'm not going to give you that energy, so I'm just going to keep that back. And then it's just kind of like an awkward, I don't know if that's happened to one of you, but there's like an awkward kind of silence then where you're just like, I'm just going to be quiet now. Like there's a vibe of that. So I feel like that may have happened at some point. Or it will happen at some point, but that's just a scene that I was being shown. I got shown it at the beginning. But I just took away from it, but it was being shown to me again, so that may have happened. Because I see somebody watching you and you're being really funny and then they're like, oh yeah, and you're just looking at them like, I don't know who you are. I don't know who you are at all. Yeah, so I feel like you're definitely very cautious with your energy, and I think maybe that's, you know, a part of the first impression. I feel like you're very cautious with who you give your time and energy to. Yeah, or you give your energy sparingly depending on what you feel is sacred to you or where it needs to go. So yeah, pile number 2, that is what I have for you guys. I really hope that you enjoyed your reading. Hit the thumbs up and comment down below if you did. I'm sending you guys all of my love. I hope you have a beautiful morning, afternoon, evening, whenever you guys are watching. Sorry guys, I felt something touch my back and I don't think my cat is here, so that was really odd. I just felt something tap my back. Anyway, hope you guys have a nice morning, afternoon, evening, whenever you're watching, and hopefully I'll see you guys in my next video. So thank you guys for watching. Hey pile 3, welcome to your reading. So we are taking a look at what is people's first impression of you. So you guys chose the serpentine crystal. I'm gonna start with tarot and then we're gonna move on to your oracle cards. So let's get in. So pile number 3, please, spirit guides. What are people's first impressions of my pile number 3s? What are people's first impressions of my pile number 3s? I feel like you come across as very smart, and I feel like you come across as somebody that's very quick-witted. You could come off as blunt sometimes, very headstrong, but it's almost like I don't miss a beat. So say now you were like a manager of a company and somebody tries to get one over on you, I feel like you'd realize it straight away. Like, you don't miss a beat at all. Like, I see you being very aware, analytical, maybe even hyper vigilant, and I feel like people see that as like they've got eyes, you know, they're saying they've got eyes on the back of their heads. Like, that's the vibe I'm getting here. And I feel like you're somebody that I want to say the word cold hard facts. So say now somebody got into a debate with you, you'd win. So there's this feeling of I don't want to get into a debate with them, or if they're saying it, I'll just do it. Like, I'm not, because I'll lose. Like, there's kind of that vibe here that I'm getting. I feel like in regards to romantic partners, I feel like they like this about you, because I feel very like, ooh, like I find that attractive. Like there's a fire coming through here. So you could have a lot of fire in your chart, Aries, Leo, Sag. It's reminding me, if you've ever seen Nicki Minaj in like an interview or something like that, like she can be very blunt, and like she'll just say things and be quite snappy, but it's in like a funny way at the same time. Like, it's not mean, like she doesn't lose that kind of like charisma there. So it's kind of like that, and I'm sure she's a Sagittarius as well. So there's that sort of vibe. Pile number 3. Pile number 3. What are people's first impressions of my pile number 3s? You're very cool. I don't say that word a lot, but I feel like you come across very cool. Like, you're somebody that I'd want to be. Like, this is a vibe I'm getting from other people. Like, oh, I want to be friends with that person. I'm almost vying for their approval. Like, you kind of give that big sister, big brother energy where it's like, I kind of want your approval. You know, when you have like an older sibling and it's like they're cool, so you kind of want to like hang with them, and you know, it's like, what do you think? Like, do you think this is cool? Like, there's kind of like a vibe of that. Like, you may find people come to you and it's like, what do you think about this? Do you think that this perfume suits me? Do you think this suits me? Do you think I should get this? Like, I feel like people may turn to you because you have a kind of like, it's reminding me of like the Emperor cards or like Aries energy, but I'm hearing like Law and Order. Like, I feel like you have that kind of vibe where it's kind of boss energy, where people want to ask your approval, and kind of, if you say it's good, then it's good. Like, if you say it's cool, then it's cool. Because otherwise I wasn't gonna do it. Like, you naturally have that. It's like a leadership vibe. You have big D energy is what I'm trying to say. Like, big D energy. It doesn't matter the gender. You just have that. I don't know why Nicki Minaj is coming up quite strong. I was thinking of like her songs. If it doesn't matter if you don't listen to her, but sometimes she does songs on her albums where she's very cocky because she knows she's good at rapping, so she's able to be that. Why can't she? And I feel like when I hear that, it's very endearing, because it's like, you know, you're really good at rapping. Like, I love this. They're usually my favorite songs from her, and I feel like you give off that vibe where like, I'd listen to you guys talk ish. Like, I'd listen to, you know what I mean? If you guys were strutting down a runway, I'd be watching. Like, you know, you kind of give off that. Like, even if you're a newcomer to something, you give off this air of like, I'm gonna boss this. I don't care if I fall on my face. Like, you own everything. Even if you were to fall on your face, it's like, I'm gonna own it. Like, yeah, and I just, you know, you're very real and genuine, and you ooze this silent confidence. Yeah, you do. Pile number 3. That's what people's impression is of you. Like, if you guys wanted to become a celebrity, I feel like you have that vibe and energy that would just, it's kind of, I've said it before, like a Rihanna energy, you know? She's very very confident, and she definitely has big D energy, so it's that kind of vibe. 3 of Pentacles. People make up a lot of impressions of you, like a lot of thoughts of you straight away, because I haven't even pulled the cards yet and I was just talking. So I feel like people naturally, like, I feel like you do live in people's heads rent free. This pile does. This pile lives in people's heads rent free, and I feel like this pile has people thinking and people's minds kind of like TikToking, and you may be on TikTok, who knows, but I feel like people get, it's almost like I'm lost in thought. I'm thinking of like, what would you do? Or like, if you put anything out there, like you could put music out there, you could put movies out there, you could put, you know, you could have like a YouTube or an Instagram or a TikTok, and then people see that. So it's like, I kind of feel like I'm watching. So you could be some sort of like influencer. You don't have to be. You could just have that energy. If you ever wanted to be an influencer, I feel like it would go well for you, because I feel like you attract an audience. I was watching the other day, if you've ever watched it, H2O, Just Add Water. It was a Australian program about these 3 girls that were mermaids. And one of the girls, because she looked at the full moon, she started singing like a siren. And all of like the boys like from that town like were outside of her house because they just wanted to sit and listen to her sing. And she was singing this like beautiful like, oh, like, you know, singing like a siren, and they were all like, oh, and it was like #1 fan vibes. And I don't know, you just kind of give that off. So you could have a following, I don't know. Pile number 3, we have the King of Pentacles. You have a very good balanced masculine and feminine energy where you're able to be very playful and cute, but I feel like your masculine side, your masculine energy doesn't play about you. I feel like you're very protective over yourself. You've really built that up in a really nice way, and maybe that's why people feel drawn to you there, because it's almost like, oh my god, protect me. You know, there's that sort of vibe here. We have the 6 of Wands here as well. And with the original 6 of Wands, you know, she's on that horse and people are cheering her. I swear I'm hearing my cats around, but I can't see them. I don't know what's going on. We have the 8 of Swords at the back of the deck here as well. Okay. 3 of Pentacles. Yeah, I feel like people look up to you. I feel like some of you guys do have some sort of platform, or you're really good at something that people come to you and it's almost like, I know you're good at this. Or you're an expert at this and I'm learning from you. You could teach people, you know what I mean? You could like do classes for people and teach, because it's almost like I want to listen to you and I want to hear what you've got to say. With the 3 of Pentacles here, like I'm seeing somebody with an audience. You could do like lectures and things like that, or it could be like an energetic, like, you know, audience online. That's what I was trying to say, like a I forgot the word, but you know what I mean, like a seminar sort of thing online. You could do those. But I feel like there's something you're really good at. You could be like a jack of all trades where you're good at a few things, so people are just drawn to you there. I feel like you're a perfectionist. I feel like you're a perfectionist, and you could like really work hard behind the scenes to give off the vibes you give, but people feel like it's just natural, and it could be natural too, because people's first impression is like you just ooze this kind of like, I don't know, there's like a sensuality here that I'm picking up too. Like you just ooze that, you're tapped into it, and I'm just kind of like drawn to you there. You're very quick-witted. Like I'm picking up some Virgo energy. You're very quick-witted, where it's like, if I said something funny, like you say something funnier straight away. If I was trying to make a sly dig at you, you'd call it out straight away. And this is where I feel like I feel like you're a narcissist nightmare, because I feel like if somebody was insecure and trying to put you down, they'd expect to just chuck something at you and then you maybe not say anything. But I see somebody like chucking a snake at you and then you just grab it onto the snake straight away and going, what's this? Why are you chucking this? What's going on? Like, why would you do that? Like, I feel like you do that, and I don't know why. Like, I'm hearing somebody say they've got an answer for everything, because I just feel like you do. I feel like you do. I feel like, you know, people are like, oh, they've always got to have the last word. It's like, yeah, I do. Like, you just give that vibe off in regards to people's like first impressions. Sometimes people think they can try and cast a light, like cast a shade on your light, and you're like, no, wrong one, you know? And I feel like there's a feeling where I kind of like you. Like, I don't know, like, there's this vibe. I don't know if you've had this experience where somebody has tried to chuck something at you and you've told them off, and then they're like, oh, sure, I kind of like that, you know? Especially in terms of, like, relationship, like, romantic things, because I feel very drawn there. Like, you're telling me off, and I'm like, ooh, rules, like, you're putting rules in and all this, and it's like, ooh, okay. Like, I feel kind of, like, you know, attracted to that. Because I feel like you've got a lot of power in your voice. You could be a very loud person, or you could just have a very stern voice. It's just the way that you speak. I feel like you give off like a kind of surety. Like you give a, like you're very sure of yourself. You're very, these are my words, they're not going to be swayed. You're not going to sway me. You definitely come across as stubborn, like my way or the highway. You could have a lot of fixed signs in your chart. So that's Leo, Aquarius, Scorpio, Taurus. But you give off like big boss energy, because I'm hearing Victoria Monet's song Big Boss, and she says, I'm gonna make you feel, I'm sure she says something like big boss, like $1,000 bill or something like that. That's the vibe that I'm getting here. Like, I just feel like you do give off, like, I wear the trousers, I'm the leader, you can follow me if you want. Like, you kind of give off that, which I love. You know, I'm tapping into, I'm like, you guys are cool, be my friend. Like, that's how I feel. But there's, I do feel there's something you're genuinely good at that people praise you for or look up to. I saw the new Hunger Games yesterday, and Lucy Gray, she's like the girl, and she sings on the stage. Like, she's known as being like that singer, and she like plays the little guitar. So some of you guys could do that, because it's almost like I know you as that. And when she goes into the Hunger Games, she sings, you know, quite a bit. So it's like she's known for that. So there's something I feel like you're known at, that you're good at. Maybe it comes out effortlessly, maybe you've worked hard for it, but either way, could be both. But either way, I feel like you're somebody that can't be tamed as well. That's another thing about people's first impression. I feel like sometimes you've drawn people in that have tried to tame you. Or they've thought, oh, they'll settle down with me, or I'll try and tame them. But you actually need someone that's going to grab their own horse and reach for their own stars next to you. You don't want somebody that's going to get one of those, what are them circle things you spin around to bring the horse in? I don't know what they're called. Like, I feel like people try to do that. They're running behind you with one of those circle things, the strings, the ropes, whatever it is, and they're trying to rope you in. But you need somebody that has their own horse and is running next to you, trying to get their own star. And they're supporting you. I feel like that's what you need. But you've had people that have tried to tame you, maybe try and put you in their place, or try and control you. It's like trying to control that fire, which it's not meant to be. And I feel like you need someone that like supports you, you know, and looks out for you there. But you've had people that have tried to rein you in, or maybe felt like your light outshone them and then started getting resentful. Like, maybe you've dealt with people like that, and that only makes you want to shine more and reach for higher stars. It's like, you're not going to box me and I can't be tamed. So we have Taurus straight away. Yeah, you guys are definitely, you guys definitely come across as stubborn, very naturally attractive. Just like, I feel like you could walk around, like, just wake out of bed and go out and people would find you attractive. I do feel like you have that. And I feel like, I don't know why, I feel this vibe of like, I'm on a mission, so like everything's pre-planned. Because I'm thinking of like a Taurus, and it's like, okay, this is what I'm going to do for the year. I'm not budging past this. And I'm seeing somebody like, oh, let's change the plans and do this. And you're like, no, I know what I want to do. This is what I want to do. Like, you're not going to sway that. Like, I feel like you're very like set in motion. Like, I'm turning up here to do this, or I want to go here for food, or I want to do that. And someone's like, no, wait, let's go over here. And you're like, no. Like, that's a first impression of like, I said what I said. I meant what I meant. I'm doing this. You're not budging me. So I feel like you do have that. I also feel like people feel like if they pee you off, like, iced out. That is something that's coming through here that people feel. Whether you do that or not, you could do, but that's a feeling like, if I F up, I'm out. One strike and you're out. I feel like you may be those type of people. Because I keep hearing somebody say, it's either in you or it's not. So if someone's unfaithful, it's like the faithfulness is either in you or it's not. Or you keep lying all the time. So honesty is either in you or it's not. And it's clearly not in you, so there's nothing more here. So there's something about that where I've made up my mind about you. You've shown me that. I don't need to see anymore. I'm off. I feel like you're quite good with that. I feel like you don't fly off the handle a lot, like emotion. I feel like you keep them preserved. Because I feel like sometimes people may think, hi Veda, Veda's here guys. I feel like people may think, oh, that person can be cold, or that person's gone cold. I'm hearing diplomatic, but I just feel like you keep your emotions hidden until you need to let them out. We have Leo here as well. When I put the Leo card down, I heard follow the leader. So I definitely feel like people feel you kind of have that leadership, regal kind of energy, and I feel like people are drawn to that. You know, the lions are the king of the jungle. Like that's what I'm picking up. Luna. Why do we have Luna in the middle? You're actually a very passionate person, but you know how much of yourself to give out or show people. It's like, I'm very, very passionate, and that's what's driving this, and I have a lot of emotions. That's why I don't play about myself or where my energy's going or who's around me. Like I have my morals, I have, you know, I know how I move, and I'm very passionate about why I do this or why I do that. And that's why you're not going to be able to budge me, because my heart's connected to that. So people then could be like, oh, they're cold, they're on a mission, but you're actually doing that because that means something to you, you know? Oh, that person just cut me out because I lied once. Yeah, because trust is a really big thing for you. And maybe you've been betrayed before, so you're very passionate about being able to trust people. So if they've betrayed your trust, yeah, you're going to walk away. You're not cold. It's actually, you've got a lot of depth to you, you know? But it's like, that one strike and you're out, you know what I mean? Because I know I love myself, and I pour into myself, you know? So that's something that's coming through here as well. I feel like you do a lot with emotion, but people don't understand that. You could have like a Capricorn moon, Aquarius moon, because there's like a Saturnian feel here. I feel like people sometimes don't see that there's a lot of emotion behind things, because they might not be wired in that way to see it, you know, from that perspective. Yeah, and with the Leo card, I'm just being shown like the sun and people like looking up to you. Like I said, you could be like a good influencer, actress, singer. Like you'd be really good like online and just on stage where people can see you, because I feel like people respond to you really well. Yeah, even if somebody loved to hate you, like you're just kind of give main character vibes. And the back of the deck, I'm just going to cover up a little bit what we have Virgo here at the back of the deck. So like I said, I feel like everything's very to the point. I feel like everything, like you don't miss a beat. I feel like you have everything under wraps, under control. I feel like you, like say now somebody said, oh, can you host this party for me? You would have everything where it needed to be, and it would be to your standards. Like you would turn into like, you know, if you've ever watched Friends, there's this scene where Monica had to be the maid of honor for Phoebe's wedding, and she's like a control freak in the show. So like she's like, okay, like we only have 5 minutes to do the speeches before we do this, and everything was at a time and everything was precise, and the ice sculpture had to be here and all of this. And it's like, you kind of would give that, you know what I mean? Like when you're passionate about something, you've got to do something. I feel like it's to the point, nothing is messing it up. And I feel like that's people's first impression as well, especially if like people work for you, or have been in something like that with you, like an event or something. So yeah, pile number 3, that is what I have for you guys. I really hope that you enjoyed your reading. Hit the thumbs up and comment down below if you did. Sending you guys all of my love. Hope you have a beautiful morning, afternoon, evening, whenever you guys are watching, and hopefully I'll see you guys in my next video. So thank you guys for watching. Hey Palfo, welcome to your reading. So we are taking a look at what are people's first impressions of you. So you guys chose the shell. I'm going to start with tarot, and then we're going to move on to your oracle cards. So let's go. So pile number 4. Some of you guys could be quite openly spiritual. because I want to say like nomad, so some of you guys could live a bit of like a nomadic kind of lifestyle. Some of you guys could travel a lot, some of you guys could be very outdoorsy, or the way that you choose to live your life could be different to maybe the people around you, like family or your home, you know, people in your hometown. It could be very different to the quote-unquote norm, you know. Pile number 4. Yeah, because I'm walking barefoot in the forest, like energetically, like that's what I'm being shown. So I feel like you guys may be very in tune to a kind of different grid to other people. So, you know, like the quote-unquote matrixy vibes, like people, you know, in a lot of the times like the Western world, and they're very like work, you know, buy things and cars and all of that, and they put you know, a kind of like price on people of like, you're worth this, you're worth that. A lot of the times I feel like you're not, you know, you could be integrated into it, but I feel like you're not. It's almost like you're in this world but not of it. But what's interesting is you're very much of this world. It almost feels like an old paradigm that you're tapped into, which allows you to look at things differently. Because then walking barefoot, I'm being shown that because you're rooted into maybe the cycles of nature. So, you know, like the hustle and bustle of everyday life, I feel like you're not super attached into that. It's almost like you move at your own pace, you move a lot slower, you take your time. Yeah, some of you guys could be into gardening, like I'm thinking of first impressions. So some of you guys could like eat a certain way, so like maybe eat your own foods like that you've grown yourself. You could just be into gardening, people are aware of that. Or you could just be, you know, very precise with what you put in your body, be very careful with that. But that's something that I'm taken to. You could follow like a certain lifestyle in regards to like your health choices and stuff, because that's a first impression that's coming up here. Like you definitely doing something different to me, not me, but like from people's first impression, they're like, oh, that's not what I usually do. So that's one thing. Pile number 4. Sorry if you hear my stomach rumbling, by the way. I'm all of a sudden I've come over pretty hungry. I will eat after this, don't worry. But I could just hear my stomach rumbling then, so if you hear a noise, it's me. Sorry. Pile number 4. What are people's first impressions of my pile number 4? We have the Knight of Cups, the Moon, the King of Cups. Oh, look at all this water. Pile number 4. You definitely see through people. 6 of Cups. Look at all that water. 8 of Wands at the back of the deck. And you've got all of this water here. Knight of Cups, the Moon, the King of Cups, and the 6 of Cups. And even on the Moon, you know, the Moon controls the tides, but water is very prevalent as well, even in the cards. So that's quite interesting. Knight of Cups, the Moon, King of Cups. You listen to your own rhythm. You listen to your own cycles. You move in your own way. There's this vibe from other people, though, in regards to your first impression, where, like, you're here and then you're not. You know how I always said that there was a pile and it was like my Dumbledore Gandalf pile, where when I need you, you're kind of, when I want you here, you're never here, but when I need you, randomly you show up. And it's interesting how that happens. So I feel like, you know, you may be very connected to spirit, and, you know, you could be very aware that you are a healer and you work in healing professions, but I just feel like you show up at the right time. You could be a light worker, shadow worker. I feel like you show up at the right time for people, because I also feel like you've accompanied people on certain lessons that they've had in life, which is quite interesting. Knight of Cups and the Moon. It's almost like, okay, so imagine, this is what I'm literally being shown. 2 people with like money given to spend, and one person is, and it's not that anyone's wrong here, it's their own life mission, it's what they're choosing to do, but they're showing it to me from like other people's perspective. So you're there with, say you got £50,000 to spend, and somebody else has £50,000 to spend. I'm seeing somebody go and buy like a car, or go and buy like a designer bag, and then I'm seeing you go and buy land, or go and buy like set something up for like, it's all to do with nature here, so like animals, or like there's something like that. And the reason I'm being shown that is I'm looking at people's first impression. It's like, you move differently. I would never do that, but you move differently. Like, I live a fast-paced life, you live a soft life. Like, you live a very chill life. So I don't know whether you're originally from a city or you've like moved away. You could be somebody that travels a lot and moves about and lives out of like a bag, and you just kind of hitchhike, or you just travel about. It's almost like who I'm tapping into here, it could be people from your hometown or family, where it's like you do things differently, way differently than me, and where your values are, or where you're putting your time and energy is not where I'd put my time and energy. Like, why? Like, I saw someone the other day and they were like, I think it's like off cliff, like camping. So they had a tent that was like dangling off a cliff, and I'm like, what if you rolled out? What if you sleepwalked? I could never do that. But like, obviously people enjoy doing that. So there's something about that with you where it's like you're tapped into something else. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what's going on there, but like, you're just tapped into something else. And it's kind of like, what? There's a lot of curiosity then of like Alice going down the wonderland of like, what do you get up to? What would a day in the life be like for you? How would that be? I don't know if some of you guys own farms or something like that, or like sanctuaries, but it's like, what do you do every day? Like, how, like, it could be something simple, like you don't own a TV. It's people like, what do they just read? Like, what do they do? Like, I can't imagine that. Like, this, though, that's the vibes that I'm tapping into, and I just feel like you see things a lot deeper and from a higher perspective that a lot of people sometimes might not understand. You see life through a certain perception that people around you might not get, and I feel like it creates this curiosity, but it also does create a fog around who you are, because it's almost like, I don't get it. Like, I'm being shown a really big question mark. Like, I don't understand it. Obviously the people that are like your soul tribe, the people that come in, they'll get it because they're doing the same things as you. And you may have a lot of people that are quite alike you, because if you've only just recently started being like this, I feel like the right people will come in because you're standing in your own authenticity, and that's shining out so people can energetically find you. Maybe in the past you might have hid that so people didn't see that, you know what I mean? Like, you put a kind of like mask over you to kind of blend in with what other people did, so people didn't quite see you. Because I'm hearing somebody say, why don't they just get me? Why don't they see me? But maybe there were parts of you that were like hidden, you know? Okay, 6 of Cups here as well, King of Cups, Knight of Cups, the Moon. Yours is a tricky one, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I feel like people get a bit stumped when it comes to you in regards to people's first impression of you. I feel like you're always doing something though. Like, I feel like there's things you're doing that are interesting that I wouldn't jump out of my shell to go do. Because if you think of this cockle shell, this used to be like a double and there was a cockle living in there, but at one point this broke, the cockle got free, and this washed up on shore. So wherever this came from, whatever was living there, it's past its day, we've let go of the shell. So people see you as somebody that has jumped out of the shell. Hello, Jasper. Jasper never comes over and he's here. Hi, Jasper. He never comes by here. I don't know if he's going to jump. He may make an appearance. He's only ever made an appearance once, but he's here. Kind of like you guys. People feel like you're never, like, when people want you to be around, it's like you're not there. But when people need you, you show up. I feel like you're like my cat Jasper. That's what you're kind of like. But like I was saying about the shell, like that piece of shell just washed up onto the shore. So it's almost like, I feel like you either leave your hometown or you leave what they would perceive your roots to go elsewhere, because I feel like you're guided by your intuition. And I keep, like, maybe people catch up with you over social media because I see people seeing you do things, and it's like, I would love to do that, but I would never have the guts to do that, or I would never want to leave my hometown, or I would never jump out of my home comfort. So it's like, how did you, like, how do you do that? You know what I mean? Like me sitting at home on my bed looking at those people camping off a cliff, and I'm like, I could never. It would be cool to say I have, but I just couldn't do that. I'm happy in my bed, but like, good for you. That is so cool. I wish I had that kind of courage, because I know I couldn't do that. So I feel like there's things you do where people feel like that about you, or people are like, oh, they're over here now. You could travel a lot and be like, 1 minute you're here, the next minute you're here, and people are like, oh my god, when you know, how did they end up over here? How did they end up over here? So you could do that. You could be always on to the next. You could also, in regards to like work and career, do things that are a lot different or make your money in a different way. And people are like, oh, wow, okay, like I'd never be able to take that leap, but like it's worked out for you. That's cool. So there's something around that as well. You could do something that's like unconventional. I don't know why as well I'm being shown somebody being a flight attendant. So somebody could be a flight attendant and moving about the country, and you know, maybe working on a cruise and moving about the world, and it's like, oh, you're in Iceland, oh, you're in Alaska, oh, you're in Australia. Like there's a vibe of that too. But yeah, it's like you're living in a different realm. You're seeing life in a completely different set of eyes. And I do feel a lot of people, it's almost like I catch up with you over social media. Because you could like travel and then meet someone, and even for the people that are adventurous and are traveling too, you would be seen as like, oh, that's like a nomad. That's like someone that's just like on a journey. Like you give off that even to people that may see themselves as a bit of a free spirit themselves. I feel like you give that to like another degree, which is quite interesting. And again, this could be from a spiritual perspective. Like you could really take a lot of, you know, be very careful where your energy is going, and you just want to be like open to channeling, and you don't want the distraction around you. And it's nothing's right or wrong. Some, you know, we have our own ways with working with things, but you could be like in a super certain way where even other people that are connected to spirit are like, oh, you are tapped in, and you're like living by this like every day. Like that is just what you do all the time. Like you're just switched on constantly. Like it could be something like that too, you know, because some people, they can switch on and then it's like, okay, I can close this down, go do like humany things and then jump back. But there's something about you where you're doing something where it's like you're constantly on a roll, and I'm like, oh wow, you know, even if I enjoy doing what you do, you're like on a roll. Like you just don't stop. So that's people's first impression of you. You don't stop. The 8 of Wands, I feel like because of that, you're constantly evolving. Maybe you learn about yourself through other people and other experiences. Pile number 4. People's first impressions of my pile number 4s. We have Scorpio. We have Mercury. I want to keep this kind of, it's just not going to go straight. We'll just leave it like that. Scorpio, Mercury, and one more card, please. People's first impressions. Capricorn. Back of the deck, we have Aries. I do feel that people feel like you're somebody that brings people out of their comfort zone. I feel like if somebody was around you that like went to the same places for food all the time and, you know, did the same routine every day, I feel like if somebody befriended you like that, I feel like you would get them out of their comfort zone like that. Because I feel like people might even credit you for that. Like, you really got me into this, or you really got me into this restaurant and I never would have gone if you wouldn't have thought of that, or you really got me, you got me over my what's it called, fear of heights, or you got me over my fear of flying, you know. Like, I feel like you're somebody that can help people do that, so I feel like people credit you like that. And I feel like you do drop bits of wisdom and information that people, their mind takes, so it plants seeds. So I definitely feel that you guys do that. It's almost like I feel like being around you, I've got a kickstart into something else. So that's something that you definitely do for people when they first meet you. I'm hearing part of your world, the Little Mermaid, so I feel like people feel like you're longing for something else, or longing for something different, or, I mean, some people could feel with the Scorpio card that you're running from something too. That could be some people's observation and projection, like they're always on the go, what are they running from? You know, some people could think that, whereas others, it could be like, what are you looking for? What are you searching for? You're looking for something else. What is it? Like, what isn't satisfying you here that you have to go here? Like, what's that? So I feel like people do have that impression as well. Mercury, and then Capricorn. Mercury. I feel like your mind ticks. Like I feel like I'm sat next to you and your mind is ticking. Like, should we go do this? Should we go over there? Should we, like, your brain's like, the world is limitless. Like, let's go over here. Let's head over there. Or you could be somebody that talks a lot as well. Like, you have a lot of ideas in your brain, and you could, because your brain may be fast, I feel like you could talk about something 1 minute and then switch to something else. I'll do that a lot because I have a lot of air in my chart. Like, I'll be talking about something, and then the minute somebody's like replied, I'm talking about something polar opposite to that. Like, I've just gone really deep, but now we're going over here. So I feel like you could do that as well. Yeah, 100%. I feel like you could do that. I feel like you're really good with like speaking and talking to people, and I feel like you do motivate people. Like, if I was on like one of those safari things, like, you know, when you see people in the woods, not safari, when they're in the woods, like a jungle thing, and they have to like abseil and like zip line, I feel like you're the type of person that would be like, do it, like hype me up, and give me that pat on the back. Like, I feel like you're that type of person. Yeah, and I feel like, I almost feel like you're always like, when I was thinking of the mountain and camping outside the mountain, I feel like you're always looking at the next best thing to do. You're always looking for another like mountain to climb. I feel like people do feel that about you. Like, I'm hearing that song, Ain't No Mountain High Enough. Like, I'm hearing that. So I feel like that is you guys. And yeah, pile 4, that is what I have for you guys. So I really hope that you enjoyed the reading. Hit the thumbs up and comment down below if you did. Sending you guys all of my love. Hope you have a beautiful morning, afternoon, evening, whenever you're watching. And hopefully I'll see you guys in my next video. So thank you guys for watching.